It was a routine traffic stop, until it wasn't. A middle-aged man in a crisp police uniform flashed his badge, barked orders, and had the tone of authority nailed. But when a real cop showed up on scene minutes later, everything unraveled. The badge? The car? Modified. And the man behind it all? He wasn't a cop. He never had been. But for the last 10 years nobody noticed. His name was Dale Monroe, a quiet, middle-aged man living in a suburban duplex outside of Fort Worth, Texas. To neighbors he was friendly but distant. He mowed his lawn like clockwork, waved at passing cars, and often left in what appeared to be a police cruiser. But Dale didn't work for the Fort Worth Police Department. Or any department. Ever. In fact, he didn't have a badge number, a partner, or even a payroll record. What he had was a full uniform, complete with a radio, a service belt, a body cam, and a fully outfitted Crown Victoria. His story began 10 years earlier, shortly after his dishonorable discharge from the military. Records showed that Dale had failed a psychological evaluation after being caught impersonating a superior officer. He didn't take that lightly. Within a year, he'd reinvented himself, not as a soldier but as a self-appointed protector of the public. At first it was small stuff, pretending to be off-duty when helping at accident scenes, intervening in minor fights, calling in fake noise complaints on his neighbors, and then showing up to resolve them himself. Some people started calling him Deputy Dale. He leaned into it. By year 2, Dale was conducting full traffic stops. By year 5, he had installed a custom light rig on his car and acquired forged documents from defunct police agencies. And by year 10, he had written himself into the mythos of the town. He kept the streets clean. Dale was the only one who responded when we needed help. Better than the real cops. But beneath the facade, something much darker was brewing. It all came to light one October night when Dale pulled over a teenage girl named Lily Harper just outside her high school. She was 17, driving her mom's car after a study group. Dale flashed his lights, approached her window, and asked to see her license. But Lily noticed something off. He didn't talk like the other cops, she later told investigators. He kept looking around like he was nervous. Then he asked me if I'd been drinking. I hadn't. But Dale didn't like her tone. According to Lily, his expression changed. His voice got low. He told her she could either come with him for a sobriety test at his station, or things would get worse. Lily did what every terrified teen does when their gut screams danger. She stalled, texted her dad pretending to be asking about curfew, then waited. And her dad did what any furious parent would do. He drove straight to the scene. By the time he arrived, Dale had Lily standing at the edge of his car, arms out, about to be cuffed. What followed was a screaming match that drew real police attention. 2 officers from the actual Fort Worth PD showed up, badges out. Dale turned, badge in hand, trying to wave them off. But his badge was wrong. His car's plate was fake. His uniform wasn't regulation. They tackled him on the spot. Inside his cruiser they found a loaded Glock 19 unregistered, zip ties, a GoPro hidden in the rearview mirror, a police radio that wasn't tuned to any active channel, and a manila folder filled with pictures of women he had previously pulled over. The arrest made local headlines by morning. But by then, Dale Monroe was already a legend in flames. What started as a bizarre case of impersonation quickly escalated into one of the most baffling deceptions the Fort Worth Police Department had ever encountered. Investigators raided Dale's duplex the next morning, and what they found wasn't just strange, it was disturbing. His garage had been converted into a makeshift precinct. A corkboard filled with photos, timelines, and handwritten reports. Shelves stacked with confiscated items. Vapes, fake IDs, alcohol bottles, even cash, all evidence from fake arrests. Dozens of forged citations, all signed with a name that didn't exist in any police database. He even had a police scanner tuned into the city frequency, not to help, but to stay ahead of real officers. But the worst discovery? A locked filing cabinet. Inside were confidential-looking case files written by hand, driver's licenses of over 30 young women, a digital log with names, dates, and disturbing notes like, "Stop for speeding. Nervous. No parent. Said no to search. Must watch. Lives alone. Worth another stop." Investigators quickly realized this wasn't just a man pretending to keep order. This was a predator playing cop, with unchecked access to vulnerable people for years. But then the narrative shifted. People came out in defense of Dale. He was doing the jobs the cops didn't. He stopped a break-in at my cousin's store. This is some kind of mistake. Dale was one of the good ones. Even former sheriff's deputies claimed they'd seen him around, and assumed he was either part-time or off-duty. He had blended in so well, so convincingly, that some actual officers had unknowingly waved to him, passed him in traffic, or nodded hello at community events. In a twisted way, Dale had exploited the cracks in the system, and the public's blind trust in authority. That trust was his costume, and it had worked for a decade. As the media frenzy grew, so did the public obsession with Dale's mind. He wasn't just a faker. He wasn't doing this for quick cash or social media clout. He genuinely believed he was a cop. Psychologists who observed him noted signs of hero syndrome, a psychological pattern where individuals create or prolong crises so they can solve them and be praised. In every interview, Dale repeated one line: "I help people. I kept the streets safe. That's all I ever wanted." But that didn't explain the notes, the GoPro footage, the photos, or the unsettling way he sometimes parked outside schools for security detail, even though no one had asked him to. How did he get away with it? Well, here's the part that shocked everyone. Dale never used a fake ID. He never tried to forge a police database entry. He simply put on the uniform, drove the car, and acted like he belonged. And people believed him. Even the background check loopholes allowed him to purchase body armor and law enforcement surplus equipment online. No one questioned his presence because he looked the part. He spoke and clipped commands, used the jargon, knew how to quote penal codes, and that was enough. In many towns, the image of authority outweighs the verification of it. And Dale knew that better than anyone. Just when the investigation seemed to hit its peak, detectives obtained a second warrant for a storage unit Dale had rented under a different name. Inside, a chilling discovery. There, tucked behind a fake wall, they found another fully equipped police uniform with a different badge number, a bulletin board titled "Next Shift," and on it, a map of local parks, schools, and jogging routes, marked with pins and times. The implication was dark. Dale wasn't just pretending to be a cop. He was escalating. And law enforcement believed he was preparing for something much worse, something he never got the chance to do. The trial began 6 months after Dale Monroe's arrest. By then, the media had renamed him the Phantom Officer. He was charged with felony impersonation of a peace officer, illegal possession of a firearm, unlawful restraint, wiretapping, aggravated harassment, and multiple counts of stalking and intimidation. In court, Dale wore a county-issued jumpsuit, but he still carried himself like a cop. He spoke to the judge with clipped, formal authority. At one point he even objected, as if he were a lawyer. But no amount of delusion could save him. When Lily Harper took the stand, the teen he last pulled over, the courtroom went silent. He made me feel like I was going to disappear. Like I was in the middle of a horror movie, and no one would believe me. Other victims came forward too. A woman said Dale followed her home and warned her about neighborhood safety. A man admitted he had paid Dale a fine in cash after a traffic stop. One young woman claimed he detained her in his car for 45 minutes, questioning her about who she dated and where she lived. Many of these victims had never reported it. They thought Dale was real. They thought they'd done something wrong. Dale's public defender pushed a simple argument. My client suffers from untreated delusional disorder. He believed he was a force for good. He never hurt anyone. But prosecutors tore that apart. He didn't need a badge. He needed power. And he took it from anyone he could intimidate. In the end, the jury took less than 3 hours to reach a verdict. Guilty on all counts. Dale was sentenced to 34 years in prison. No parole for at least 20. But what he said at sentencing chilled the room. He turned to the judge and said, "They begged for protection. I gave it. I should have been hired, not punished." Even then, he didn't break character. Just when the public thought they had uncovered all there was to know about Dale Monroe, another file surfaced. A cold case detective in Florida recognized Dale's face from TV and reached out to Fort Worth PD. Back in 2010, a man with a similar appearance had been questioned in connection with a missing woman, Chelsea Downs, 24, last seen entering a car resembling a police cruiser after a late shift. The case went cold. No license plate. No camera footage. Just a witness description. White male. Cop uniform. Confident. She got in like she trusted him. The car was never found. Neither was Chelsea. Records show Dale moved to Texas just months after that case went cold. Was it him? There's no hard proof. But the coincidence? It's enough to make your skin crawl. Police reopened the case. And now, every department Dale passed through is combing old records, unsolved cases, and abandoned files, wondering how far this deception went, and what he might have done before the uniform came off. This case forces us to ask a chilling question. How much of our trust in authority is based on appearance? A uniform, a badge, a tone of voice. That's all it took for Dale Monroe to walk freely through communities, detain civilians, stalk women, and manipulate an entire town for a decade. He wasn't a cop, but he knew how to act like one. And in a world where perception becomes reality, that was all he needed. Now he sits in a cell still insisting he was the good guy. But maybe the most terrifying part? No one ever doubted him, until the very end. the True Crime Diary. Subscribe for more haunting stories from the darkest corners of the internet.